Hello, peace seekers. This is Saniqua White dropping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. So, today I have an interesting topic, and I'm just going to put this out there because I'm seeing it every day in working with my clients. So, I know some of you out there are struggling with it as well. And it pertains to where you are spiritually. And when I typically ask that question, I'm looking for what is your core belief system? What are you rooted and grounded in? What do you hold on to in this crazy world that we live in? I myself am a believer and follower of Christ, which makes me Christian. Not all of my clients are. But one thing that I am seeing in the world itself and in many of my clients is that they would be Christian or they would be followers of Christ if Christ didn't have something to say about the behaviors that they are doing, the things that they are doing. I won't go into all the things that my clients are doing in the lives that they're living, but a lot of them have once been in the church and are now not necessarily in the church. They may still have a belief in God, but because of either what they would call church hurt or what the Bible actually says about something that they're into that they don't want to get out of, so they can't very well be a follower of Christ if he doesn't want them to do certain things. And I want to address church hurt just for a brief second. And I want to challenge you to consider that you have not been hurt by the church. You have been hurt by a person who was in the church, and you put so much emphasis on church people, then you're looking at them like they're supposed to be perfect. And so you were hurt by a person who you looked at as supposedly perfect. And so now you're saying that you were hurt by the church. That is what I'm seeing in most cases. Now, some of my clients have actually been hurt by things that the church was doing, meaning the pastor was doing things that you wouldn't want to see being done by a pastor or a church, or some of the ministers in the church were doing some things that you would never want to see being done in a church by a minister. So I understand where some people are getting church hurt from, because to them those people were acting on behalf of the church or acting on behalf of God as they're seeing it. So they were hurt by the church to them, and they've left the church altogether because of these people. Again, I want to challenge you. If that is where you are, strengthen your faith and your walk with God and then work with people. Because I would say that you've been hurt by a person in the church and not actually the church. It wasn't God that hurt you. But I do understand where you're coming from. The other thing is that you might be saying you were hurt by the church because some of the things, some of the lifestyles that you want to live are talked about in the Bible and in the church, and you are aware or you don't want to believe that a loving God would not want you to be this person who you feel like you are, or do these things that you feel like are okay for you to do. And therefore, you feel like you've been hurt by the church because of that. I understand that as well. But what I would ask each and every one of you to do is to be honest and look at what your limitation is and look at what your barrier is, and look at what you're afraid of being rejected from, or what you're afraid to have the need to change if you were to be a follower of Christ or any other religion or concept or theory or theology that you're wanting to follow. Look at yourself first and be honest about whether this is a thing that you really just want to do, that is against what the church is saying, or something you really feel like it is who you are and the church is against who you feel like you are. If that is the case, I would challenge you to search yourself, have some prayer time. This is not going to be easy. A lot of people struggle mentally and emotionally because they struggle spiritually. There is something that is tugging at you. It won't leave you alone. You feel led, or you feel like you want to resist whatever it is, because you are having a spiritual battle that looks like a mental and emotional battle that can also take on physical forms. And I know that this video is not something that you really want to think about, but as it pertains to your mental health, your spiritual health has a lot to do with it. If you are resistant to your spirituality, or you have adjusted your spirituality, or you believe this part of that faith but not that part, so you don't really participate, because if you participated you'd have to be all in, and you don't really believe that part of it, because if that part of it is true, then oh my, then it really means that I'm not supposed to do this, or I'm supposed to live this way or not live that way. If that is your resistance, I would say do the research for yourself. Don't just take a pastor's word or a minister's word or whoever that you were listening to. Do the research. Read, if you're a Christ follower, read the Bible. Read it in several different interpretations and translations. Whatever faith or religion or whatever that you believe in that you might be struggling with, do your own research and be honest with what you find. Because once you stop your resistance in your spiritual life, pieces and parts of your mental health are going to subside and are going to release and are going to be more peaceful to you. And this is not a topic or a conversation that you're probably going to hear a lot in the world of mental health, because some aspects of mental health believe that faith and mental health are mutually exclusive, meaning they don't have anything to do with each other. You should keep faith out of the office, and in a lot of cases that is so, because therapy is based on science, experiments, trial and error, theories. Faith is not based on any of that. It's based on spirituality. That's a whole different realm of life than science. So a lot of scientific folks and psychological folks will say that these two things don't belong together. But I would say, me personally, you don't have one without the other. If you are a tripart being, meaning you have to look at your physical self, your mental and emotional self, and your spiritual self, and they all belong together because it's a part of the same person. You have to look at it from a holistic view in that way. Separating one from another will probably not give you the full answers to questions that you have. So what I'm saying is that I challenge you, if you are a person who's struggling with your spirituality and you're also struggling with mental health issues, stop trying to separate those things and look at them as a whole. Do your research. Find out for yourself. Don't just keep resisting the church or the faith or whatever it was that you don't want to believe could be the case, and be honest with what you find out. That is something that is going to help you holistically, especially with your mental health and getting yourself on track. Because if you're leaving a piece of an important puzzle out, you're going to struggle. You're going to suffer. So find out for yourself. Don't just believe what somebody says, no matter what type of authority you think that they have or you believe that they have. Find out what is true, what is literally true. Do the research, and don't just read one book. Read several. Listen to several people and deduce the information. And if you are prone to prayer, pray and ask God to show you the truth, His truth, which would be the truth, and not just going off of what someone else is saying. So for your own mental, physical, and spiritual health, try and become less resistant to a faith or the faith that you were once a part of, that you felt like you were hurt by, or that you just don't believe all the pieces of anymore. Allow your resistance and your walls to come down enough for you to do the research on your own. I know this is a tough and icky topic, but if you like this content, give this video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. If you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear from you. I'll be back soon, but until then, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.